Charlie Munger understood something most people spend their entire lives running from. The anxiety you feel about money isn't really about money at all. It's about control, or rather, the illusion of it. Most of us walk through life believing that if we just earned a bit more, saved a bit harder, or invested a bit smarter, the knot in our chest would finally loosen. But Munger knew better. He knew that money anxiety is a symptom of a deeper disease, one that festers in the gap between what we think we deserve and what we're willing to do to earn it. Let me be clear from the start. This isn't going to be a feel-good sermon about abundance mindsets or manifesting wealth through positive thinking. Munger didn't traffic in fantasies. He dealt in reality, and reality has a way of being brutally honest with those brave enough to face it. The real reason you feel anxious about money is that you've been lied to, not by some external villain, but by your own mind. You've convinced yourself that wealth is complicated, that it requires secret knowledge or insider access, when in truth it's devastatingly simple. And simplicity, as Munger often noted, is the hardest thing for humans to accept. The anxiety begins with a fundamental misunderstanding of what money actually is. Most people treat money as if it's the destination, the prize at the end of some exhausting race. They measure their worth by their bank balance, their status by their possessions, and their security by how much they've managed to hoard. But money isn't the destination. It's a tool, nothing more, nothing less. And like any tool, its value depends entirely on how you use it. A hammer in the hands of a skilled carpenter builds homes. In the hands of someone who doesn't understand its purpose, it's just dead weight. Your anxiety doesn't come from lacking money. It comes from not knowing what to do with it, or worse, from doing all the wrong things with what you have. Munger spent decades studying human behavior, particularly the ways people sabotage themselves financially. What he discovered was both simple and terrifying. Most financial anxiety is self-inflicted. It's the result of choices made in moments of weakness, ignorance, or desperation. You buy things you don't need to impress people you don't like. You take on debt to maintain an image that doesn't reflect your reality. You chase returns that sound too good to be true because you're too impatient to let compound interest do its quiet, unglamorous work. And then you wonder why you can't sleep at night, why every unexpected expense feels like a catastrophe, why the future seems more threatening than promising. The brutal mathematics of this are inescapable. If you spend more than you earn, you will always be anxious. If you carry debt that compounds faster than your income grows, you will always be trapped. If you invest in things you don't understand because everyone else is doing it, you will always be one bad decision away from disaster. These aren't opinions, they're laws as immutable as gravity. And just as you can't negotiate with gravity, you can't negotiate with financial reality. You can only choose to work with it or be crushed by it. Munger believed that the foundation of financial peace wasn't wealth, it was rationality. He saw clearly that most people's money problems weren't actually money problems at all. They were thinking problems. You feel anxious because you're making decisions based on emotion rather than logic, on impulse rather than principle, on what feels good in the moment rather than what serves your long-term interests. This is why lottery winners go broke, why high earners live paycheck to paycheck, why people with every advantage squander them, while others with nothing build empires. The difference isn't luck or talent or even opportunity, it's discipline. It's the willingness to delay gratification, to think in decades rather than days, to accept short-term discomfort for long-term security. Here's where most advice fails you. It tells you what to do without explaining why you're not already doing it. Save more, spend less, invest wisely. Everyone knows this. The knowledge isn't the problem. The problem is that knowing and doing are separated by a canyon of psychological resistance. Your brain is wired for immediate reward, for status signaling, for keeping up with the tribe. It's wired for survival in an environment that no longer exists, where displaying wealth meant safety and hoarding resources meant starvation. But we don't live in that world anymore. In the modern economy, the behaviors that once ensured survival now guarantee failure. And your anxiety is the alarm bell your subconscious rings when it senses the conflict between your ancient wiring and your modern reality. Munger's solution was characteristically blunt. Rewire yourself, not through affirmations or visualization, but through the systematic elimination of stupidity. He famously said that he wanted to know where he was going to die so he could never go there. Applied to money, this means identifying the behaviors that destroy wealth and simply not doing them. Don't buy what you can't afford. Don't invest in what you don't understand. Don't compare yourself to people whose financial reality you don't know. Don't mistake a bull market for genius. Don't assume tomorrow will bail you out of today's bad decisions. This sounds simple because it is simple, but simple isn't easy. The reason it's not easy is that eliminating financial stupidity requires you to confront uncomfortable truths about yourself. It requires admitting that you've been wrong, that you've wasted time and money, that you've let fear or greed or pride drive decisions that should have been driven by reason. Most people would rather continue suffering than admit they've been the architect of their own suffering. They'd rather blame the economy, their employer, their circumstances, anything but the face in the mirror. But Munger knew that blame is expensive. Every moment you spend blaming is a moment you're not spending fixing. And the anxiety doesn't care about your excuses. It only cares about results. So what does fixing look like in practical terms? It starts with radical honesty. You need to know exactly where you stand financially, not approximately, not hopefully, but exactly. How much do you earn? How much do you spend? Where does it go? What do you own? What do you owe? Most people avoid these questions because the answers are painful. But pain is information. It tells you where the problem is, and you can't solve a problem you won't acknowledge. Once you have clarity, you can build a system, not a budget that you'll abandon in a week, but a system that makes good decisions automatic. Pay yourself first. Automate your savings, live on less than you earn, and invest the difference in assets that compound over time. This isn't revolutionary, it's remedial. But remedial is what most people need. The investing piece is where anxiety often intensifies, because this is where complexity sneaks in and paralyzes people. Munger's approach here was ruthlessly simple. Buy wonderful businesses at fair prices and hold them for a long time. Don't try to time the market. Don't chase hot stocks. Don't believe you're smarter than professionals who've spent decades studying this. Don't confuse activity with progress. The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. And if you're feeling anxious about your investments, it's probably because you're on the wrong side of that transfer. The cure isn't more information or better predictions. It's patience. It's the willingness to do nothing when nothing is the right thing to do. But let's address the deeper issue, the one that underlies all the tactical advice. The anxiety you feel about money is often a proxy for anxiety about life itself. Money represents freedom, security, options, respect. When you don't have enough of it, or when you're afraid of losing what you have, you're really afraid of being trapped, vulnerable, limited, invisible. This is why people with millions still feel anxious, why no amount ever feels like enough. Because the problem isn't the number in the account, it's the belief that the number defines your worth, your safety, your future. And as long as you believe that, you'll never have enough. You'll always be one market crash, one job loss, one medical bill away from panic. Munger understood this psychological trap, and he had a characteristically unsentimental answer. Stop looking for security in things that can't provide it. Money can't make you secure. It can only make you comfortable. Security comes from competence, from skills that remain valuable regardless of circumstances, from relationships built on something more than transactions, from a life structured around principles rather than possessions. If your entire sense of security rests on your net worth, then you're building your house on sand, and when the tide comes in, and it always does, you'll lose everything. This is why the first step in eliminating money anxiety isn't financial at all. It's philosophical. You have to decide what you actually want from life, not what you've been told to want, not what looks impressive on social media, but what genuinely matters to you. Because once you know that, you can structure your financial life to support it rather than distract from it. If what you want is time with your family, then the career that demands 80-hour weeks for a bigger paycheck is making you poorer, not richer. If what you want is creative freedom, then the mortgage on a house you don't need is a prison, not an asset. Money anxiety often comes from pursuing goals that aren't even yours, from running a race you never agreed to enter. Munger lived this principle. Despite being a billionaire, he lived in the same modest house for decades. He drove ordinary cars. He didn't collect yachts or private jets or any of the other status symbols that people assume come with wealth. Not because he was cheap, but because those things didn't serve his actual goals. His goal was intellectual freedom, the ability to think clearly and act independently, and he structured his financial life to maximize that freedom, not to maximize appearances. This is the secret that nobody wants to hear. The path to financial peace isn't earning more, it's wanting less. Not in some ascetic, joyless way, but in a deliberate, intentional way. It's distinguishing between what adds value to your life and what just adds clutter, cost, and complexity. The final piece of Munger's framework addresses what happens when you do achieve financial stability. Because here's the trap that catches even successful people. Once you have enough, the anxiety doesn't disappear, it just changes shape. Now you're anxious about losing it, about making the wrong investment, about whether your kids will squander it, about whether you're doing enough for others. This is where Munger's emphasis on rationality becomes crucial. You have to define what enough means for you, specifically and numerically, not in some vague, when I feel comfortable way, but precisely. Because without that definition, enough will always be just beyond reach. You'll keep moving the goalposts, keep chasing the next milestone, keep sacrificing the present for a future that never arrives. Money anxiety, at its core, is the result of living in conflict with reality. It's wanting outcomes without accepting the behaviors that produce them. It's wanting security without discipline, wealth without patience, freedom without sacrifice. And reality doesn't negotiate. It doesn't care about your feelings or your circumstances or what you think you deserve. It only responds to actions. Munger's great insight was that once you accept this, once you stop fighting reality and start working with it, the anxiety begins to dissolve. Not because your circumstances magically improve, but because you're no longer at war with yourself. So if you're feeling anxious about money right now, ask yourself this: am I anxious because of my actual circumstances or because of the story I'm telling myself about those circumstances? Am I making decisions based on reality or on fear? Am I living according to my values or someone else's? Am I building a life that serves me or one that imprisons me? These questions are uncomfortable because they put the responsibility squarely on your shoulders. But that responsibility is also your power. You can't control the economy, the markets, or what other people do, but you can control your choices, your habits, your priorities. And in the long run, that's all that matters. The real reason you feel anxious about money is that you haven't yet accepted that wealth is boring. It's not exciting trades or genius predictions or lucky breaks. It's showing up day after day, making rational decisions, avoiding stupidity, letting time do its work. It's living below your means, investing the difference, and being patient enough to let compound interest work its magic. That's it. That's the whole game. But our brains crave drama, crave the story of the underdog who risks everything and wins big. And so we sabotage ourselves chasing that story instead of embracing the boring reality that actually works. Charlie Munger spent his life proving that boring works, that rationality works, that patience works. And he did it without hype, without promises, without selling dreams. He just told the truth over and over in different ways until people started listening. The truth is that you already know what to do. You're just not doing it. And the anxiety you feel is your mind's way of telling you that the gap between knowing and doing is costing you, not just money, but peace, freedom, time. The question isn't whether you can eliminate that anxiety. You can. The question is whether you're willing to do what it takes. Because the price of financial peace is the same as the price of any other kind of peace. Honesty, discipline, and the courage to live according to principles, even when it's inconvenient, especially when it's inconvenient.